You can find our social media down in the description box below. Go ahead and give us a follow on those. We also have a link to our Patreon account and our Coffee account. So if you'd like to help our channel grow financially, we have those as well.
And you can find me, Michele Nichols, at Michele Nichols Axings Reviews on YouTube. You can also find me at Michele Nichols Official on Instagram.
94 is probably the most stacked year of all time.
Oh, that's really hard.
I love Forrest Gump dearly, and every time I rewatch Forrest Gump, after forgetting about Forrest Gump, I'm like, damn, this movie is phenomenal. But The Shawshank Redemption absolutely should have won Best Picture that year.
Not mentioned on here, Lion King. I don't think it would have been nominated, but Clerks, that along with Pulp Fiction, did huge things for independent cinema. So super important year. Pulp Fiction, you want to keep that reputation of being against the grain, the mainstream of it, you know. So I don't think that would have won, but changed the film industry forever and how people view films, make films. Four Weddings and a Funeral, top 10 favorite rom-coms of all time for me. Quiz show I haven't seen, but damn.
I love Forrest Gump. And I also really, really like Shawshank. Like a lot. And that's really, really hard for me. I'm not mad. I can't say that I disagree.
Shawshank Redemption is number one on some people's lists of best movies of all time. I don't know if I necessarily think that it's the best movie of all time, but it is way, way up there. If you're making a top 100 best movies of all time, Forrest Gump maybe belongs on the list. If you have a top 25 movies, best movies of all time list, and Shawshank isn't in that list, you're doing something wrong.
Top 25 favorite movies of all time, The Shawshank Redemption's in there for me, so I'm going to have to go with The Shawshank Redemption. You look at that top 50, Forrest Gump's in there for me.
Because I love Forrest Gump, and I don't care what anybody says about it now. But I also, if Shawshank had won, I wouldn't be mad about that either, because I really love Shawshank. And Shawshank is one of those films that it's so iconic, and it's got some of the best acting, by Morgan Freeman I've ever seen. So I wouldn't have been mad at that at one. But so I don't disagree.
Shawshank Redemption, I feel like you get more emotion, where Forrest Gump, you get a lot of one emotion, and that endearingness of the character Forrest Gump. But Shawshank Redemption for me would have won the Oscar just because it's so versatile and with a plethora of emotions.
Shawshank should have won that year. For this year, the answer is really, really easy for me. La La Land.
Yeah, I really wanted La La Land to win, and maybe it's just because they accidentally said it, and then when they're like, "Never mind, it's the other movie," I was like, "Oh."
I mean, I feel like everyone has the same answer for this. It's either you are headstrong about Moonlight, or you think La La Land should have won because it got 14 nominations. I'm in the camp that La La Land should have won.
I like both movies, but I just ended up enjoying La La Land more. And maybe it's just because as I get older, I find sadder movies less fulfilling to watch.
La La Land didn't win. I would like to see Hell or High Water. I think that movie's incredible. Arrival, I think Arrival is also better than Moonlight as well.
Moonlight is an excellent film, especially that first act. That first act is incredible. And if it was its own short film, I don't think another short film would ever need to be made. It's phenomenal.
Moonlight starts off at a 10, and then it just slowly goes down there for me. When Mahershala Ali leaves the film, I'm kind of like, all right, it's interesting, but not something I'm going to go back and watch. Not something that I respect the filmmaking of it. It just doesn't relate to me.
But La La Land as a whole is an incredible film. You got the Hollywood aspect. You got the musical aspect. It's incredibly well acted. And I also just really, really love stories about realistic portrayals of how relationships go sometimes. Not that the relationship in Moonlight isn't a potential realistic relationship, but on a broader general spectrum, there are more relationships that just start out on fire and then for whatever reason fizzle out.
Personally, so La La Land, Hell or High Water close second.
A lot of adaptations in this year. Just goes to show you, Hollywood has never been original. This one's kind of tough. Gone with the Wind is obviously an absolute classic, but so is Wizard of Oz. So is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
I really don't like Gone with the Wind. I think it's beautifully shot, but it's way too long, and I find there's a lot of problems in it.
Gone with the Wind's boring as hell. Wizard of Oz, too childish.
I mean, I get why it won at the time. It's kind of an epic, sweeping romance. They like that. Those always do well.
I think it's hard to think about this as if I was in 1939.
Out of all of those, wow. I have a fondness for Mr. Smith Goes to Washington because I really love Jimmy Stewart.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington has James Stewart in it. So that movie should win because James Stewart.
I guess I would probably go for Wizard of Oz. I know. I mean, it's hard to say. I understand why the other one won, but personally, if I had to choose between watching The Wizard of Oz and between Gone with the Wind, I would watch Wizard of Oz.
I would have to say I think Wizard of Oz should have won over Gone with the Wind. Obviously technical things get their own appreciation at the Oscars, but when you combine the technical achievements that Wizard of Oz achieved for its time with the story itself and the big sweepiness of it and the set pieces that they created for this movie and Judy Garland's performance and all the other performances, I think that Wizard of Oz probably should have actually won that year.
I don't like politics. This movie's man, this is really interesting. Even though I don't care about politics, I don't even know what a filibuster is. But James Stewart makes this movie captivating. The other ones I've never seen or haven't watched. Stagecoach is the exception of those. And John Wayne's a racist, so I'll stick to the most lovable man in America at the time, James Stewart.